welcome everyone to Films of the Woman of My Life. My name is Brennan, and joining me tonight is Mama Kay.
Hey everybody.
And tonight we're doing Amsterdam, the new David O. Russell film. He's done a lot of stuff you've seen or heard of. American Hustle, The Fighter, Joy, Flirting with Disaster, I Heart Huckabees.
Three Kings.
Three Kings? I was curious which one you were going to say that I didn't bring up, because you typically insert one. I'm like, which one is she going to say?
I think that's the only other one that I've seen.
That can't be the only other... Well, we've had this discussion before. You and I saw American Hustle together, and you're adamant that you've never seen that movie. And I'm like, I saw that with you. And I remember because we saw it in the front row of a theater, like an older theater that had like not good front row seating. But yeah, you never remember this.
I feel like this is still something that is in your head, but I
don't know who else I can even... I'm sure it was you. But anyway, this is Amsterdam. In 1933, three close friends find themselves the center of one of the most shocking secret plots in American history. This stars Day Young, Casey Biggs, Colleen Camp, Tom Irwin, Leland Orser, and Beth Grant from Donnie Darko. There's some other people in this too, but no one you've heard of, I don't think. I was looking forward to this quite a bit because I like pretty much all of David Russell's movies that I've seen, which is most of them. And you've seen Three Kings and you don't remember American Hustle. So we've established that. You like Three Kings?
I might have seen Flirting with Disaster too, but I'm not sure.
With Ben Stiller?
Oh yeah, no, I didn't see that.
I think that's my favorite Ben Stiller movie because I don't particularly care for his stylings, but...
No.
Three Kings? You like Three Kings?
I did like Three Kings. That's kind of right up my alley, though, right? That's a, action adventure. Got George Clooney.
True.
Yeah.
I like he's got a good dramatic flair while being very funny. Like, all of his stories are like, a lot of them are drama-y and like based, sometimes he'll do like based on a true story and then spin it off. That's kind of what this is. And then, I like his style of humor.
I think that's what Three Kings was too. So,
yeah, no, Three Kings. Like I caught up with that. I didn't see that when it came out, so I saw that after seeing like The Fighter and like his bigger ones.
Okay.
And
yeah,
I was like, oh, it holds up. It's one of his better movies, like shockingly good. But we're not talking about any of those. We're talking about Amsterdam in theaters, and it has not a good score, unlike most of his other movies. Most of his other movies are critically acclaimed, and this is critically not acclaimed at 33%, 59 audience score. Yeah.
Yeah.
So 33, we had 59 on the audience, which is still pretty low. What's it got on the other things? Like a 6.2, 47 on Metacritic. So not good for a David O. Russell movie. But yeah, we'll let you know what we think of it now, and we're going to go into spoilers. So if you haven't seen it, bail out now.
Christian bail out now.
Christian bail out now. 1918 is when this takes place. At the very beginning, anyway, and it's in World War I when Bert Birdson, and that's Christian Bale, he gets sent off to World War I because his wife's parents tell him to. They're a rich, well-to-do family, and in order for him to fit in, he has to go. But really, it sounds like that they just kind of want to get rid of him. So he gets sent over there. He gets put in charge of an African-American group. What are they called? Platoon? Troop? I don't know what they're called. War group. And he meets Harold Woodsman. That's John David Washington. They hit it off, become close friends after being very badly injured in battle and nursed to health by who becomes their third friend, Valerie Vosay, maybe, played by Margot Robbie. And the three of them become best friends, and they go to Amsterdam, and they party all the time. And then 15 years later, we cut to Christian Bale and John David Washington living in New York, doing their own things. And Taylor Swift comes to them and says, my father's been murdered. And then we find this old dead guy. And then this plot kicks off where it's basically Christian Bale and John David Washington are framed for this murder, and they got to clear their name. by going to all these eccentric people and rich people and evading people, and they got to they're wrapped up in a much larger plot than they originally anticipated, is what you find out later on. So it's a murder mystery thing. So that's what's going on. Okay, what'd you think of Amsterdam?
Well, the murder mystery got me into this immediately. I did see previews for it, and I was excited to see it because I like that kind of genre. What I found out during this film is that I really vehemently dislike Christian Bale. Pretty much everything.
You might have said this before, which is it's one of your worst takes. It's right up there with Meryl Streep's a bad actress.
Okay, but and I was talking, actually, as we were leaving the theater, I was like, I'm going to get roasted for this because of the Meryl Streep thing that I go on. I will watch a Meryl Streep movie over a Christian Bale movie any day. I'm going to say that right now. I had no idea that I had a real issue until I looked back at his filmography, and I'm like, no, 100% no, 1,000% no. Maybe I would have liked him in Newsies, which was literally his first film.
So I'm saying you're going through these no's, the American Psycho, the Batman trilogy, the American Hustle, the aforementioned, Machinist, basically tons of really great critically acclaimed movies where he's praised.
Sure.
And you were saying these are all terrible. You do not care for him. I do not understand.
I've seen American Psycho, didn't like it. The Batman movies, I think he's the worst Batman. Well, I shouldn't say that. There's a lot of bad Batman.
The worst. Okay,
I don't like.
Yeah. You're getting carried away.
You can't say he's the worst Batman.
You're getting carried away there.
Yeah, you're right. But in the world where Adam West is my Batman, you have to cut me some slack. I just don't like it. And in this, he was a cut rate dollar store Peter Falk, Columbo, and I thought, is he going to be like this the whole film? And he was like this the whole film. And it was so irritating for me that I couldn't enjoy it, honestly. And that one piece is bad enough, but this movie is a disaster. I was going in looking for a clever, this is what I was looking for, and where I live, I guess. The side of the street I'm on I'm looking for a clever Rian Johnson Knives Out, and that's not what this is at all. This is not even a murder mystery. It's not even a mystery. I didn't find, there were murders, yeah. I didn't really find any mystery in this. And I felt like it had a story that was interesting that held 0% of my interest 100% of the time. It was so messy and bad. That's where I land.
That's very negative. First, I'll disagree with you on Christian Bale. Of the three,
sure, I thought you might.
When we do performances of the trio, his character is the best, and I think his performance is the best. And I don't think it's very close out of the.
Do you know who Columbo is?
Yes, I know who Columbo is.
He is a cut rate Columbo. He totally stole the whole performance from Peter Falk.
The most similar character he's playing here, and he plays very different people in his different movies, but yes. American Hustle was was the immediate comparison I thought of, because in that one he's also because this one he's kind of like a hustlery kind of guy. He's a doctor, but he's like a doctor who tries all these experimental drugs on people because he's been kicked out of stuff and he's got the missing eye, and he's the character that has the most color to them, and I find most believable. The other two of our trio is like Wet Blanket, and I don't know what this character is, and you can decide. I think you can tell who I'm talking, which each of them are. But when it gets to the whole movie,
Wet Blanket is John David Washington.
Oh, yes. Okay. This was the problem I had. So I guess we're starting with characters, but before I go into the rest of it. Before we go into the rest of it, John David Washington's character. Describe me his character without describing his profession or what he looks like. Describe what he is.
He is wallpaper.
Yeah. This is my problem.
He doesn't exist in a realm. He can't be by himself. There is no character there.
See, Christian Bale's character you can describe. He's eccentric. He's needy. He's got an addictive personality. He's the most reckless of the three of them. You can describe things about him. What would you say about John David Washington's character? You'd say he's the level-headed member of the group? Like, how much could you say? He's not a lot to this character, is my point. And then when you get to the third character, Margot Robbie's character, I don't really. She's like all right. So she's her brother is this rich guy. We find that out later. So she has connections at the beginning of the movie, and like that kind of helps them with like odds and ends, small stuff, not like life changing stuff until it is later. But
I feel like that's how they get to Amsterdam, though. Like it's all her.
It is, but like that's what I don't understand. She's not clear to me. Like we understand like. Because the 15 year flashback where we meet everybody and they're becoming friends. She's a nurse in the war. She's eccentric and she's also eccentric because she makes her little art pieces. So she's got that. That's like a thing. That's like a character piece. And then when we revisit her 15 years later, she's like under house sitting from her brother, and she's heavily medicated and she's got vertigo, and we figure out why later on. But again, I just don't know. I was so unclear on these three, and they don't come off as like a real trio. Like I don't fully buy the three of them as like, yeah, these three make sense as like they're gonna hang out and be best friends.
It's almost like the only reason that they're together is because they are so diametrically opposed from one another.
Maybe that's because John David Washington's the linchpin, because like the other two wouldn't hang out without him, and he's the straight man in both those relationships. So maybe that's why he's so wallpaper milquetoast man. But
yeah,
again, I also haven't been convinced by him as an actor. I haven't seen him blow me away yet. Tenet, I thought he was fine, but my biggest thing in this movie is that I really, really liked it at the hour 40 mark. And I liked it a lot.
Well, that's when the story started being told, right?
Yeah, at the hour 40 minute mark, which is too far into the movie to start liking the movie. Yeah. 100 minutes into a 134 minute movie. So I get a nice half hour where I'm like, well, at least but it's not like it's a mystery. At that point, you know what's happening. The reveal is not clever. It's if you don't pick it up, if you don't know it by the first frame, you will pick it up by the midpoint at least, and then the kind of final mechanisms are kind of fun a little bit, but like you're not surprised who wins and who loses. You're not surprised who the bad guy is. You're not surprised. Nothing's surprising in this murder mystery. In this mystery, there's no surprises.
Right. There's no mystery.
No, but there is a mystery. The mystery. The whole movie, and that's another problem with like the whole time we got to find out who's really behind this thing, but I don't feel like that's really what we're doing. It just kind of feels like we're bouncing from empty sets to empty set with our 400 actors that we cobbled together for this. And it's making a joke at the beginning by mentioning all of the non-actory actors, like not non-actors, the smaller names, because there are.
I know. For a second, I was like, "Oh shit! Did I see the wrong movie?" Because I don't know any of these people.
No, it was all a bit, but but yeah, like the top 20 names in this are all A to B list actors. These are all household names. Like there's
Chris Rock.
There are headliners in 30-second spots. So, but what a waste.
Yeah, I agree. I didn't really know. I really did feel like we were floundering the whole movie. Are we telling the story of these three people, or are we telling the story of a murder mystery, or what are we doing here? And this is, the very first frame this is sort of based on true events, sort of kind of thing. And that also is interesting for me, but it's.
How much did you look into the actual events this is based on?
What's that?
How much did you look into the actual events this is based on?
After the movie, I did.
Mm-hmm.
But
I'm going to say, I'm disappointed with how loose that this is.
Yes.
The beginning says most of this stuff, based on a true story, most of this stuff happened. And then you read about what actually happened in real life, and you are like,
not really.
You are reaching. You are reaching and stretching and straight up not saying true things.
I feel like the events of like Jojo Rabbit, which is something I could sort of compare it to, are more accurate than this.
So, yes, because even though that has little boy imaginary Hitler, the events that happened in that movie did happen, and they generally happened in the tone, the people who got hurt. Yeah, yes, that movie matches reality a little more than this.
Yeah. I guess I just don't really know the story that he's telling. I don't like the way he's telling it. It's slow as hell, even though it's exposition heavy. It doesn't say anything. Like it. You don't have to tell me that Peter Falk is eccentric. I know that Christian Bale as Peter Falk is eccentric. You don't have to tell me about you don't have to tell me about any of these characters. They all come up. They express themselves immediately upon entrance, and nothing changes for me for that.
I don't know why you keep going with Columbo. Like Columbo is like the detective with the cigar, right? Who's like kind of like,
yes, he's bumbling. He's got one eye. It's all he talks just like the Christian Bale character, like 100% like him. And it was.
See, I like his affectation. I like the way he talks. It draws me in. I like it.
Maybe you don't have the comparison in your head that I do, because Peter Falk does it much more original. He stole this whole performance from him. And the thing about Christian Bale, I may not like him, and I guess I don't like his roles and all of that, but I do happen to subscribe to the fact that he is a good actor. Okay. And in this, I don't feel like he did it all. I feel like he phoned it in using someone else's character, and I don't appreciate that. I don't. It didn't add anything for me. It just made me irritated the whole time.
Yeah, see, he's the best character out of the three, so, like...
That's too bad.
Well, no, too bad for you, because this must have been awful if the other two are...
That's what I'm saying.
Like, this must have been just, like... Because... Like, there's just no chemistry, but that's another thing. Is like, what's a good way to add stakes or tension in your movie? You have your principal characters fight, disagree. They don't really do a lot of that. And if you're like, okay, well, that's fine. Our main trio is a team, and they handle all adversity well, and that's why we cheer for them. But then we need a really strong, like, villain. What are they fighting against? And we don't know what they're fighting against for half the movie. And then by the time we suspect we know what they're fighting against, you're like, okay, well, the mystery's gone, one, because I know who the bad guy is. I know of these 20 famous names who the bad guy is, based on the with and. Right. We can get to that. But, it's just not, there's no surprises left. And even though, and like I said, I like this movie at the hour 40-minute mark, which is when they go to Robert De Niro's house. And and from that scene to the end, I'm like, oh, I kind of like this. Yeah, it's not. It's finally reached 3-star movie for me. Honestly, is kind of how it felt, because before that it was a lot of 2-ish. It wasn't incompetent. Like, you can tell this is made by a guy that's made movies before, and that's why you're never gonna get like, how did they even let this go through kind of thing. But it is.
But it only went through because it's a David O. Russell film. This was not. If anybody who didn't have a name made this, no.
Well, they had shooting problems too. This started or supposed to start shooting in April 2020. So, that's pretty much the worst time you could start trying to film something. And their final filming, they got moved multiple times in their locations, which you can tell. Everyone took pay cuts, all the famous people, so they all took scale. So people wanted to make this. They tried their best. They Amsterdam, when they got the let me see here. I was reading that. They were keeping production on site going, and then the city had to shut them down because they reached their permit limits. Like, they pushed it to the end, and it just they couldn't get it all. Clearly, I think that's why there's a voiceover in this too, because voiceover, while it can be good in some movies, is kind of a crutch. Like, it's to explain things that are confusing, because if you just showed the footage you shot, you'd be like, I don't know what the fuck's happening. I have a feeling that they probably put this together. Like, there's lab scenes cut out. I there's tons of shit you could tell is cut out in here There's Zoe Saldana's character. You could tell that was supposed to be way more. I bet they cut all kinds of stuff in there. The Andrea Riseborough, I think they probably kept too much of her, but they kept her, and like there's just a lot of stuff that I can imagine was on the cutting room floor here.
Yeah, and it was already long, so I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it could have been longer. I'm sure they probably. I bet there's a 4-hour cut of this somewhere, but it's probably just as like kind of sloppy and like it. Like I don't think it's. Yeah, I don't think there's like a better cut of this. But like, no. All right, so there's a billion people in this. Who works for? Does anyone work for you? Do you like any of these other small side characters?
I mean, I think for me, I think you're right. I think the movie, like my intention was going in and out during this whole thing because of my bouts of irritation for different things, and when Robert De Niro came on, I felt like, oh no, this is going to be another phoned in performance. And for him, it was I think it was probably a pretty easy do for him.
Yeah.
But again, it really amped up at that point in time. And so I thoroughly enjoyed him in this, which a lot of times I think more recently,
isn't that kind of a shock with all these people who are think of all these people in their like 30s to 50s that you think of are on their A game, and then Robert De Niro who now has the reputation of I'll do whatever comedy, family movie, whatever, and I'll
do The Intern.
Exactly, he absolutely tries in this. Like he absolutely is top tier of all of our other actors, like all of our other
I think he's successful
well-known
in
established
this.
people.
Who played Rami Malek's wife? I can't think right now.
Anya Taylor-Joy.
Oh,
the other best side character, because she's amazing.
Yeah, you're right. She is the other best side. I couldn't think of who it was, but she's fine too. And as soon as you bring in Rami Malek as the brother, I know he's the bad guy. Like,
yes, it's
he
so
doesn't play
obvious.
anything but bad guys, unless he's playing Freddie.
Freddie Mercury.
What? Yeah.
He was a good guy in he was a good guy in that Denzel Washington movie, Little Things. Well, kind of actually. He ends up kind of he's got
in general, he's the bad guy. And
have I said my Rami Malek take on this before on our show before? I'm sure I have. I think he sucks. I don't think he's good at all. Like I don't have
really?
I don't have hot take. Like, I'm not, like, in general, I think most actors who are famous in Hollywood, like most movie stars, are good actors. Because they wouldn't be, because I watch a lot of crap, and I see what regular actors are, like, like community college actors, and there's a difference. And then I've also see a bunch of crappy movies where, like, there's, like, low-level people who I'm like, that's really good. And I'm just like, if any of these stars flame out, there's a glut of talent. Like, people are so good,
right? Ready to step right
so
in.
Like when you say things like, I think Meryl Streep's overrated, I think Christian Bale, I recognize Christian Bale's a good actor, but I just don't like any of his characters or him as a person, all these things. I don't
know
get
if
that.
I like him as a person or not. I have no idea, but
I've heard bad things off stage, but maybe he's chilled out in his older years. I don't know, it's hard to say.
I heard he's a good dad.
He's oh god, I have a long story. No, nothing. Another time.
Okay.
I've heard mixed things on Christian Bale, but what was my point? Yeah, so I usually don't like go with like, oh, they suck, like they're overrated. People just like to hate on like Tom Cruise. Oh, he's weird. He's a big movie star. He's overrated. He's not actually that good. Tom Cruise is actually a very good actor. I've never seen it in Rami Malek ever, never, ever once. I'm like, I don't get it. I don't think he's good, but
even in the Queen movie,
I don't like that movie. I think he looks a lot like Freddie Mercury. So good for him for looking a lot like Freddie Mercury and doing that teeth thing. That's his signature move. I say it every time. I'm like, every time he fucking talks, looks at his even his teeth don't want to be in his body. Clearly, like they're trying to jump out of his head.
His teeth are trying to escape his face.
Yeah, every word, his teeth move closer and closer to the edge of his lips. They're trying to pry their way out of his mouth.
I'm so glad that somebody else has a teeth thing. Like I have that with oh my gosh, who's the
Well, Nicole has a tooth thing with Tom Cruise. We just said, or the guy just said, he's got that center tooth thing.
He does have a center tooth, but Cary Grant also had a center tooth, and there's nothing wrong with a center tooth. I got no problem with that.
No, Cary Grant, Tom Cruise, both very handsome gentlemen. So no shocks.
Very handsome guy, but he has a center tooth, even worse than Tom Cruise does. So
does he? I never focused in on it. I mean,
you'll have to check it out.
Pre-internet times, so there wasn't not as much coverage.
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
You know who else? Who else is great in this? And I hope you agree. Alessandro Nivola.
Okay, why?
Alessandro Nivola is so damn good in everything I've seen him in the past 3 years. I'm just like, how the fuck is this guy not like the biggest arch villain guy? He's so fucking he was
in a movie that you did not care for and never mentioned him.
What movie?
The Red Sea Diving Resort.
Yeah, I mean, I hate that movie sucks, but like he's like I don't remember him in it, but I'm sure he was like I'm sure he was like the fourth guy. He's kind of got a Charlton Copley thing to him.
I think he was the third guy, but yeah.
Okay, but like I'm thinking the first thing I ever saw him in, I think was Art of Self-Defense, Jesse Eisenberg, and he's like a no-nonsense sensei in that one, and like he's so damn funny. And I just saw him recently in a HBO Max, or no, not HBO, an AMC Plus original, Spin Me Around, which is a movie with him and Allison Brie are the two like leads, and it's like a trashy romance novel spoof. And he's like the hot guy in it, and he works so well. And then in this, he's this fucking nebbish, flat-footed cop, and he works so well there. And the first time, one of his early movies, Con Air, he's a dweeby little, he just range, man. He's got range, and I don't know why this guy has to be 24th in line in this movie, but like I just
but he does get kudos. Yeah,
he's so damn funny.
Some of the things that I've read is that he gets, and I was like, really, they're picking him out, but then there's a reason for it, because you have to go deep in to pick out stuff, because everything that's pushed at you is just not good. And
right, again, he's the second cop. Like he's so low
right. He's not even the first cop.
But wait a minute, Matthias Schoenaert, who is also I quite like him, but he again like these some of like the finest parts are not It's just what about Michael Shannon and plastic faced Mike Myers?
Okay, I did enjoy them because they were so. Again, this movie is so messy that they don't make sense to me.
They don't make sense at all, but they kind of work.
They don't make sense at all. I got their characters at least. At least I understood what he was trying to do with them, and that they were actually supposed to be like comic relief in this. Where I wasn't really sure whether I was supposed to find the other characters funny or not, because they were just not. They were just irritating to me. So they weren't funny at all.
Well, I think there's a lot of failed comedy in this. I think that's another thing. Is like,
yes,
his movies are funny. But what I love about David O. Russell in general on his movies is that none of his movies are. I wouldn't call any of them overt comedies. They're all dramas of some sort, and then you mine the funny out of that. Kind of like a Noah Baumbach, but a little more accessible. Like you mine the funny out of the drama.
Yeah. See, so this is what I'm thinking as an overall like thought process, and when you just mentioned Noah Baumbach, it's bringing me back to
I always group the two of them together.
And I can see why you do. And
different, but
and that's what I'm going to point out. Rian Johnson makes films for other people and to enjoy. This David O. Russell, Noah Baumbach, they make films for themselves. Like they think that this is funny. They think it's enjoyable. They make it just for them. And sometimes it might translate. Sometimes it doesn't translate at all.
You're the biggest Rian Johnson stan that I know. I really like. I don't know anyone else who likes him as much as you do.
I'm just saying. I mean, right now that's what I'm thinking. Because when I think of murder mystery, that's where I'm going. I mean, we've got Glass Onion coming out, so I'm very excited about that. Yeah. I love Knives Out, but I don't think Glass Onion's gonna live up to it, but I gotta.
Oh, no shot! Did you see? Yeah, no shot. It's no.
I know. Anyway,
I don't think right.
But I think he makes
Rian
films.
Johnson's
I think.
Fine.
What?
Rian Johnson's just fine. He's not as good as He's not as good as I think people.
You think he's not as good because you like people who make films for themselves or make films for snobby people. Well, no, Rian Johnson makes films for the masses, and he makes films for other people to enjoy.
I disagree. I think Rian Johnson is who film big regular and people think is a pretentious movie maker because of Last Jedi. Because people think Last Jedi is the most pretentious, annoying, artsy, nonsensical Star Wars film. People think it's as a Star Wars film that hates Star Wars, and I understand that criticism. I disagree, but I understand it. And
yeah, I don't think that either. I think it's more of a fanboy version, which is what everybody wants. No, okay, to be.
Well, now we're gonna do a Last Jedi diatribe. I disagree with, but
okay. I don't want to get off on that.
Sure, if you compare Rian Johnson to... I disagree with David. I understand the Noah Baumbach. You compare Rian Johnson to Noah Baumbach, two people who didn't make this movie that we're talking about, and they like, yes, I suppose Noah Baumbach is the more pretentious, but you compare Rian Johnson to a contemporary of his in the blockbuster space, so I'll do another Star Wars, J.J. Abrams. There's a crowd pleaser who makes garbage versus Rian Johnson. Rian Johnson's much more in the artsy group there. In comparison to the blockbuster guys.
But you said makes garbage. That's
JJ
different.
Makes garbage. JJ makes 3-star garbage.
He makes it for the masses. Him and Rian Johnson both make it for the masses, but he makes
No, I disagree. JJ makes it for the masses. Ryan tries to make it for people like me and somehow catches people like you. So I don't really know.
I don't think so.
I think you're one of the people who like him, honestly. I think he falls between people like me who like the more pretentious stuff and the masses. I think you're the sweet spot for Rian Johnson, which is not many people.
Wow. So let him know because, I'm a fan.
I'm just saying a well-informed pop culture consumer who does not like the pretentious is not a large slice of the pie, but I think that's Rian Johnson's
interesting. Well, he did, like one of my posts, so I have to.
I know.
I guess that makes him
exciting. I hope Mike Myers is aware of how people think of him because
I don't know.
I feel like he's the worst, probably in real. Like of all the SNL people, I think of, I'm like, yeah. For some reason, I'm just like, I feel like Mike Myers sucks. I feel like he's terrible, but maybe he's great, and he just wanted to take a break.
I mean, he had a time period where. He felt relatable to people, and then all of a sudden he wasn't. And I think that's just because the stories of how he, I don't know whether it was fan interactions or how he behaved on set or whether it was just like the overreaching of the Austin Powers franchise kind of thing. But yeah, he really had a fall from grace, and I don't think he cares. So
he's he's perfectly fine in roles like this, and you pair him with Michael Shannon, who that's like one of those, like, if I ever found out he was in some sort of horrible pedophile ring, that would ruin me. That would be
Michael Shannon.
Yes, that would.
I agree.
I'm looking at this cast right now. Just this cast. We got 20 famous people in here. I'm like, who would hurt me the most if they turned out to be just like an unredeemable asshole, and it would be Michael Shannon. I hope he's fine. I hope he's as great as I think he is.
Yeah, I guess I would have to, because some of the other people you already know are that. The guy who that's the thing. Some of the other people you already know, they're kind of colorful, but like no one else would hurt like that. No, because Michael Shannon is the everyman relatable, and I feel like he's
with
like
range too, with every man relatable, with like literally every man. Like he could be any man. He could be every single man.
He could be all the men. Michael Shannon.
But this movie, though, so the end. All right, let's just do the end. There's a plot. It has to do with Nazis.
We've totally avoided it up until minute.
The bad guys are the Nazis. Raymond Malek's a Nazi sympathizer. They give him drugs and money, and he's gonna be part of the New World Order. And they're making backroom deals, and they're trying to get Robert De Niro to lead the coup and be the general, the figurehead that they install in this American shadow government, very popular in Germany and Italy. And and Robert De Niro says, "No, I'm principled man," and I go up on stage and I'm principled, and then he says principled things, and then a guy tries to kill them, and Robert De Niro just keeps talking while he's being shot at, while Margot Robbie and John David Washington wrestle Timothy Olyphant, who we didn't mention at all, as the murder hitman guy.
I didn't recognize him.
Yeah, he's, one of the more unremarkable stars in this. But good wins for now. The plan is delayed. The shadow government, the five whatevers or whatever they're called, they go into hiding, and the rest is history, as they say.
Or is it?
Yeah. In real life, Robert De Niro's character is based on veteran Smedley Butler, who made similar claims in the 30s that he was approached by X number of businessmen to talk about installing some sort of shadow government in the U.S. and overthrowing FDR. And it's debated in history how much of this conversations were serious and how close they came and who was involved. And it's a little history's a sketchbooky, so not super concrete. So
yeah,
that's what this is based on. Everything else is a little fabricated. How's this end?
All of this could have happened without any of the main characters, is the point.
Right, but it's not like that's a criticism. Like, that's not the reason this doesn't work. There's plenty of good stories where
of course not.
We follow the small people on a big event's happening, but we follow Rosencrantz's Guildenstern. It's that kind of, but it's not like that. What happens?
On any level.
Val and Harold leave together because they can't be together in the U.S. because interracial stuff. And Bert wishes them well, and he pursues a relationship with Zoe Saldana. So, there you go. Moral of the story, if you want an interracial marriage, don't go to the U.S. in the 30s. The end.
No, go to Amsterdam. You'll be welcome.
Yeah.
Also, it's not really explained, why Christian Bale's in-laws hate him so much, and his wife also hates him. I mean, it's all
what I don't understand is what his wife wants from him, because I understand the parents don't like him. Oh, he's not good enough for our daughter. He's not upper class. He's weird or whatever. I get that. But I don't get why she wanted to ever be with him. And then now at the end, when she can get him something, that's when she is like, oh, yes, please. You can come back to us now. I thought she wanted to date the bad boy, or I don't know. I thought she really wanted to be with him at first, because why else? Why else then?
I mean, maybe it was just the fact that he was a doctor. I mean, that's a big deal. But
I know, but she's upper class. Surely she could date any doctor, surely she could be paired off with some better doctor,
Well, apparently not. She's clearly, scraping the bottom of the barrel. She can't get somebody. It's not just her parents that aren't satisfied. She's not satisfied either. So, just weak storytelling all around that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Or maybe there's such a thin thread that I can't follow why it would make sense in this case. So, even with boundless exposition, which you really like, so
I typically, but Ed Begley Jr. was the corpse. Did you notice Ed Begley Jr. was Bill Meekins? Dead guy.
Yes,
that was nice.
Everybody has a part.
Yeah, it's got me one.
He did have some live. He had some live action though when they did a flashback, so he wasn't just a corpse.
Sure. In the movie proper, he was just a corpse. But yeah, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
You got anything else for this thing?
I don't think so.
You gonna recommend Amsterdam?
No, I don't know anybody that needs to see this. This is just a slog. I didn't get anything from it. Sorry, Michael Shannon.
Yeah, there's a lot of apologies to go around here. I don't know. I don't know if it's the biggest disappointment of the year, only because I just haven't ever seen a bad David. This is David Ehrlich's worst movie that I've seen. I haven't seen Spankin' the Monkey, and I haven't seen Joy, which is the last one he did. But I think I've seen all of the others, and I think this is the worst. So that's too bad. But two not recommends for Amsterdam. That's how it goes.
No.
I didn't. This is another thing. Is at the end of the day, I'll probably end up giving this a 2.5 star. It's not incompetently horrible. I wasn't miserable watching this. I was just kind of kind of boorish.
No.
This is a nice, like, turn on 2/3 of the way through on cable movie, which is not praise. So
I was bored, angry, and sleepy.
I didn't dislike it quite as much as you did, but it definitely wasn't.
3 of the 7 dwarves.
Yeah, you don't want to be you don't want to. The more dwarves you are during a movie, usually it's
bad.
Yeah. Not a good. Not
I not recommend 3 dwarves.
Do not recommends for Amsterdam, and then we've got more prestige movies coming up. This was supposed to be one of those. Remember, this is supposed to be one of those in the Oscar running movies, but seems unlikely at this point. But there's others. There's others coming down the pike. I won't name them all. I always do, but it's fine. In the meantime, if you want to recommend things to us, Films with the Women in My Life on Facebook. Reach out to me on Instagram. I'm Brennan_podhost. And you can email the show, filmswiththewomen@gmail.com. Thanks for being on Amsterdam, Mama K.
You are welcome.
Till next time, this is Brennan signing off, saying thanks for listening and enjoy your movies.
Thanks for listening to Films with the Women in My Life. If you enjoyed being a listener in our life, please rate and subscribe on Apple Podcasts or on your favorite podcast app. Keep up with the latest from the show on Instagram at Brennan_podhost, on Facebook at Films with the Women in My Life, and on Twitter at FilmsWomenPod. Finally, you can email the show with questions and suggestions at filmswiththewomen@gmail.com. Original music for the show was created by Ian Burke and Chris Iwanek. Original artwork created by Nicole D'Alessio. This show is produced by Brennan Snyder. Thank you again for listening and enjoy your movies.